Welcome back to the channel, pardon me. Welcome back to the channel, brothers and sisters. Welcome back. This is the urban legend episode. Unfortunately, the campfire is alight. I'll show. It's down at the embers. I can get it going for a little bit, and then it's just like something just goes and puts it back out to embers. So I'm not going to be. I want to get the episode because I've been at this. I've been at that fire for an hour. I didn't actually realise how long it's actually been. I've got a couple of things on charge, but because I've been doing what I've been doing, I built up a bit of an appetite. So I do apologise. I do have it was meant to be done while doing this episode over with the campfire and the lamp, because the lamp's all of a sudden a 4 hour lamp has only lasted a couple of hours, so it's all good. It's good to know because some of the stuff I'm using is going to be used in another area, just to see, because I did notice in another area the just battery in general lasts a lot longer, but then I've got to remember there's a way line here, so I'm going to I'll be doing the urban legend, but I will be eating at the same time because I've been out for a while, and I always bring there's also a tin of tuna in there as well, but I like to bring a tin of salmon and a tin of tuna because they're not that expensive to buy, and you can eat it cold or you can eat it with the fire. I've had a couple of issues with the campfire. There's only been one area where I've been able to actually keep a fire going for long enough to actually cook something on. I now know that coming here is I'm going to have to get like a disposable barbecue if I want to have a campfire and have something to eat at the same time. I'm going to have to get a disposable barbecue for coming into Ravenswood, because apparently there's something in here that doesn't like a campfire. So I was testing it the late evening, like really late evening, like late afternoon going into behind the racket. There was actually something pretty close by. It wouldn't surprise me if this fire all of a sudden just spurted back into life again, but apparently there's something in here that doesn't like a campfire. But I know for a little bit, going into around about the sunset time, it's good to know, I would be able to actually get a fire going. It's when it gets a bit later, it's like something doesn't like the fire. So it's good to know for future reference. This has been in my bag. Every time I've came out here, there's been, I've had a tin of tuna and a tin of salmon in the bag. It's always handy to have. It's always handy to have it just in case. I've got to remember. I remembered that I've been on camera. I've been out for quite a while. I've been out for. I had a look at the time before coming on camera, and it's been 6 hours. It's actually really nice. See when you built up an appetite. When you built up an appetite. Sorry. I've never done it before. I've never actually had something to eat while being on camera at the same time. But anyway, thought I would try something different because I've got the urban legend. The urban legend. I'm going to be recovering the urban legend of the werewolf, or werewolf, or werewolf, werewolf. I like to call it werewolf. I'm going to go for the old terminology. Well, while I was out on the blood moon, night 1 and night 2, I mentioned the werewolf in that because I was like, oh, it's a perfect night for it. Well, in 2 separate parts of the world, well, 3 actually, but I'll cover the 3rd one because that's going to be the third one is going to be controversial. I'll stick with 2. There is 3, but I'll stick with 2 at the moment. Later on, I'll cover where number 3 is, because doing it right at the beginning will just cause, it'll just be controversial, because a lot of people tend to just watch the first few minutes, but there's those of us that'll, because this will be premiered, so we're going to be watching this all. I'll be watching this, rewatching this as well, going all the way. Trust me, believe me when I say this. Like, if you're curious as to where the 3rd place is, hang around till towards the end of the episode. There's reasons why I don't put things right at the start of the episode. It's like further in the episode is when, and especially for this one, because it was all, there's 3. So the last day on the blood moon when I was out, and I briefly mentioned about the werewolf, there was two sightings. One in the UK, no such thing as a quinky dink, because it's the reason why I mentioned it. Because it, and what is really, really nuts is it actually wasn't that far away from where I am. And that's an eye-opener. Because as the crow flies, it's actually not that far away it's actually not that far away, because I've shown how on a clear day, I've shown how far you can actually see from up here, and it's actually quite interesting. I'm using because I've got the new head torch on for going for, because at the end of the urban legend we will be going around with the spirit talker. I've not got the spirit talker on for doing this episode, because I don't want to get distracted with this one, because there's 2. So in the UK, not that far away from here, down in around the Pendle Forest, which at that area can take you over into the Yorkshire Moors. So it was one night, but there was 2 reports in the 2. The first one I'm not too sure on. The second one, there's actually a video to back it up as well, and there was actually a media coverage of it. And this is a Ripley's, believe it or not. It was actually covered. You have to, it's covered on the internet, but there is actually like a video to back it up as well. Because that's the thing in the UK, is there's no, we don't have Bigfoot or anything in the UK, contrary to opinion. We don't have Bigfoots or sightings of Bigfoots in the UK. I've already given the cryptids that we have. There's a potential with the werewolf, because it's like the account started over in Europe, but our account in the UK goes a little bit further back, because the Romans documented it with the Lost Battalion. They went up north and they came across the Ulfner. I've covered that on the actual episode. Well, this is actual account. Like, this is, people will be like, you're talking, or you're, what was it we say in Scotland? You're spraffing shite. Spraffing shite. I am not. You can actually look this shit up. You can actually look it up. It's not fake, because there's a couple of videos. There's a couple of videos of it. And then the second one is in America. I can't go into proper detail about the one with America, because again, that's actually got proper media coverage, that one. Granted, it's local media coverage, but media coverage nonetheless. There is a compilation video. There is actually a few compilation channels that cover it. I do apologise. Campfires all of a sudden started. I had a funny feeling that it would rekindle itself back up again. That just came from out of nowhere, that. That's farm noise. That's very farm traffic, but there is actually another noise in between, because it's now all of a sudden stopped. Shit. Is that there? Is that there in my own eyesight? Oh, fuck. It's actually it's still not that late. That's the mental thing about it. It's actually not that late. And the fire's all of a sudden decided to rekindle itself. And like, I've got the episode 1 and episode 2. There's a couple of bits there's a couple of parts in the episodes where I had a funny feeling. I wasn't going to be in here on my own tonight. And I knew tonight was going to, I knew things were going to get spicy, because I picked up on, I briefly talked about the werewolf on the Blood Moon. And then all of a sudden there was like there was a report in the UK, and there's another report from America. It's a certain part of it's Appalachia. Appalachia covers quite a large part. It's like a mountain range, but it's like a mountain range that's like double the size of the United Kingdom, if not 3 times the size. So it's like if you put from Land's End to John O'Groats, put that 3 times. So Britain 3 times over. That's how big Appalachia is. And that's how small the United Kingdom is. Because the state of Florida, believe it or not, is actually bigger than the United Kingdom. That's Ripley's, believe it or not. Have a look at the size of the state of Florida and then compare it to the United Kingdom. The state of Florida is bigger than the United Kingdom. Appalachia stretches it's a long distance. It travels from this pretty much from Louisiana all the way up to Newfoundland in Canada, and that in distance that's a big distance. That's 3 times the size of the United Kingdom. So it's like the United Kingdom but 3 times over. That's the size of the Appalachia. And there is some mad things that come out of Appalachia, because Appalachia is old. It's old. It's one of the oldest mountain ranges on planet Earth. A lot of people don't know that. There's other places around the planet that they tend to go, oh no, this area here's older. No. Appalachia is the oldest inhabited area on planet Earth. There's always been something there, put it that way. Which is why they get weird and wonderful things. Because if you're into urban legends and stuff, you would have came across the Appalachia, and in Appalachia they have rules and stuff, and like there's a reason why. It's the same over here in the UK. Out in the woodlands in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, or in America slang, out over yonder. I call it the middle of buttfuck nowhere, but I also like calling it over yonder. Because you just never know what you're going to encounter or experience when you go to the over yonder. Or as I like to call it, the middle of buttfuck nowhere. Because the mountain range of Appalachia is a way line, and it connects up to the way line that I'm on at the moment. Contrary to public opinion, because the Appalachia way line comes up and over around, and then it comes down through the United Kingdom and goes to Stonehenge, and then from Stonehenge it goes right over and down to the pyramids of Giza. Which is why we get weird and wonderful things on this way line. I've experienced a few things, but I can assure you there's even more things, because I've experienced things before I started recording the experiences. Because this way line, I've lived near this way line pretty much off and on my whole life, and I'm 40 years old, and I've always been around or lived near this way line, which is quite interesting, because it explains some of the experiences that I've had off and on. Don't get them all the time. But anyway, back to the urban legend of the werewolf. Pardon me. That was quite good. That wee quick bite to eat and wee energy drink is going to take me up and replenish the. That's the thing with looking out into darkness, is you... No, there is actually a light up there. Yeah, that light's moving. There's someone up there. Oh, there's something up there with a light. I'll get to do this. No, I need to actually go. I need to actually check this. Where's the torchlight? It's still pretty early in the evening. Oh, sorry, back's a bit stiff. I don't know how I'm going to do this. There we go. Try and get the yellow light. There we go. There's the yellow light. Can be a wee bit camera frame. Oh. This is a case of there's a light. I heard something along in that direction, along there. Oh, I cast it like that. And that's gave me pins and needles. So there was like a ticking, like a click, like something making clicking noises in the background and amongst the farm noise. Yeah, actually, this urban legend actually covers a couple of the urban legends that I've spoken about, and one of them being the rake. Because along with the werewolf, because that, whatever that sound was, as I was going to say, that could... I already know I'm being watched. I'm doing the shiver thing because something I know I'm being watched from the shadows. It's not paranoia or anything. I've been hearing weird things off and on. Anyway, we'll get back to doing the episode. We'll get back to doing the urban legend. And while I'm doing it, I'm going to... Well, the moth has decided to have a wee wanchy salmon. Ah, there we go. Sorry about the blinding light at times there. But I'm hearing things off. Not that relatively far away from where I'm sitting. I already know I'm being watched from the shadows in here tonight. But anyway, it is what it is. There's possibly... I didn't even actually... I come out with no intention for this whatsoever. Because there's been a night where I came out with intention and I didn't get anything. So I just go, right, well, cool. I come out with, like, what happens, happens. I record the experience. And people still think... People still think it's all fake. I wish it was. I can't emphasise that enough. I wish what I was doing was faked and staged and things, because I wouldn't have the nightmares that fucking, like, in the reoccurring dreams and reliving some of the experiences that I've been through. Because when the camera goes off, the experience is still happening at the same time. That is the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth. I wish some of these encounters and experiences that I've had have been staged and things, because I wouldn't have the night terrors and the nightmares and the dreams and the reoccurring dreams and reliving it, and then going into and being a bit hesitant, walking and coming to these places and going, when it gets really dark in here, like, I can't see I can't see shit, and I'm hearing things, but occasionally I will see something. Now you try with that. I highly recommend anyone to go into a woodland in the middle of butt-fuck nowhere. Take yourself away out in the middle of fucking nowhere and try and do what I do. I don't mean to be a bit hostile, but there is some crazy people that think that this isn't real. It's pareidolia. Alright. No idea what pareidolia means, but anywho. It's probably a made up, or somebody somewhere made up a really fancy word to make themselves out to be more intelligent than they actually are, because there's a lot of that nowadays. Oh, you're seeing pareidolia. Alright. Considering I can see it with my own two eyes, and sometimes it comes on the camera picks it up, sometimes it doesn't. I've recorded experiences and I've recorded phantom lights, because there's a high likelihood when on the way back down in the other woodland, which I will be recording through. Why did I record on that, going through that woodland? Because sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes there's a phantom light. It's not there. I've proven that light isn't there. There is the odd night where that phantom light can be there. And it's not just here. There's another woodland where I've recorded a phantom light. And why is it phantom? Because sometimes it shows up on the camera and I can't see it with my eyes, and sometimes I see it with my eyes and it doesn't pick up on the camera. That's how I know it's a phantom light. There's a previous episode tonight, I think it was episode 1 or 2, there was a light over on the other, there's another mountain on the other side. I've been off camera, I've been sort of like, because while not being blinded by that light, it's not very good, because obviously it's not good for recording. Because sometimes I like people like to see the reaction and stuff. So there is farm noise at the slightly at the beginning of this episode. There is also another noise. That other noise, I have no idea what the fuck that is. I just know that there's something. I know I'm being watched from the shadows tonight. The spirit talker and stuff, that's why I've not got the spirit talker on, because I already know I'm being watched from the shadows. I don't want a constant reminder from the spirit talker to telling me that I am being watched from the shadows. I know I'm being watched. And plus the fire got something put out earlier and I've not been able to rekindle the fire back. It'll occasionally spurt back into life and then something just puts it back out again. I'm not putting it out, but there's something here that's that doesn't want the fire. Before it goes perpetual darkness, I'm covering this because there's a high likelihood that things might get a bit more interesting. So that being said, I can get back to the urban legend. But there is other things happening there. I know I'm being watched from the shadows. 100% no. I've already caught something, I've already seen something with my own eyes earlier when the fire was fully going, and ever since I've seen the figure walk by, because I'm sitting, it walked by here. It got caught off guard because there's things around that I catch things off guard because they don't. I give the impression that I'm not able to see, and I can see. I've seen things out here. I've seen things out here that if anyone else was with me, I can assure you they would be running back. They would be running back. Because when you see a dark shape just walking through the woodland, that's the dark shape, and then you get the grey figure, and then there's like what I seen earlier, which was something in white walking by, but it's cloaked. And then there's a wee bit of a video where something flickers in front of the camera. That's not my breath. That's something that I caught off guard. And ever since I've seen that figure, the fire's not been able to rekindle. It rekindles, it comes back to life occasionally, and then all of a sudden it goes out. And it was a healthy fire that you can be assured of. It should be going out by doing this episode, for doing the urban legend. This is when the fire should actually be starting to dwindle out. But in the other episode, it was like you can actually hear it. I heard it. It was like something just went and popped it out. That wasn't me. Because every time I've tried to blow on the fire, it rekindles it, but it only lasts for about 10-15 minutes, and then it goes back to a smoulder like it is now. It's not out completely, but there's nothing. Like the log, the 4-hour log is there. It's the only thing that's keeping the fire going, and occasionally it'll rekindle the branch or the log that's over the top of it. The only drawback with that light, with that head torch light, because it's the other head torch, is I can't see anything, and I feel like I'm at a disadvantage. But anyway, I'll get into it. I do apologise for looking down at the notes, but there is notes for this one. So I've covered the actual sighting in Appalachia. That there's like a video. If you've seen the video, the compilation video is always a short version. The actual full length video for it is pretty wild actually, and it's the same with the one in because there's another part of the world as well where on the same night. This is why the whole geopolitical thing that's happening with Ukraine and Russia is an absolute nightmare, because there's something that's happened in Russia that ties up with something that's been reported here in the UK and in America, and it was all on the same night. And I briefly mentioned it in an urban on the witching hour. I had no reason to mention it. I just had a funny feeling it's a perfect night for something like that to happen, or to be, because it was. And then I later I found out like 2-3 nights later, and I'm like, nah, because a random video popped up on my feed, and I'm like, that's one from, I've seen that video before. And then the new one from America came out, and I've also seen the footage of the one in Russia, because I wanted to get a wee bit further into the video to mention where the third one came from, and that was Russia. So this whole geopolitical thing that's happening is really it annoys me, especially now because there's things happening over there that's happening here, that's happening in America, it's happening in South America, it's happening in Africa, It's happening in some parts of Asia, but when it comes to Russia, it's like, oh, you can't be. It's like, right, well, when it comes to this sort of thing, like it's all tied up, especially when it's happened on one particular night. The chances of it is highly unlikely, but that's the thing nowadays with it's the positive that comes with the technology that we have nowadays. Is technology can make the world seem smaller than it is, because when you go off, like I'm out here, and then when you start walking, you realise how big the world actually is. It's modern day conveniences that make the world seem smaller than it actually is. But see when you're on I call it Shanksy's pony, when you start walking, when you decide to walk to a place, then you realise how big the world actually is. That's when you realise how big the world is, when you start walking. Because driving to a place can take minutes or a wee while. Go back to what our ancestors did and start walking to a place, and I can assure you it takes longer than you actually realise. I walked to a place last year, and I'll be doing it again this year, but I didn't record the experience last year when I walked, but I will be this year. Because I know it takes 5 days of walking. Oh. And I will be recording because I've got enough power banks now. I think I need to buy one more power bank just to make sure. And I don't care, because I'll buy some tins of tuna and a couple of big bottles of water, because it won't be. I did it with my small bag, but I'll be doing it with a big Bergen, because that was the only thing I didn't like about doing it when I did it last year, was I didn't hydrate enough. So it's a lesson learned. I now know to take the bigger bag and put extra water. It's extra weight, but it is what it is. This is the extra episode of the urban legend. I'm starting it off with a werewolf. Because I wanted to really talk about the one in Russia, because the one in Russia is out in the middle of, it's in the middle of the Siberian forest. So it's a guy that does survival. It's a Russian survival channel. I'm going to say it. When I came across the video, I subscribed to his channel, because why not? I don't care about this whole the whole geopolitical things. Just it's actually good because the channel isn't got any of what he's actually got on camera, which is really, really, really interesting. Really interesting. That's what makes it very interesting. The one in Russia is actually the one that makes it more real than the one in the UK, and also the one in the US as well. Even though the one in the US is that's a potential of being legit. The one in the UK is a bit 50-50. There's a reason why I say that. Is the one that got reported for being on the blood moon of this year. It's very similar to a really, really old video that did the rounds pre-COVID, but back in between 2014 and 2015. Because my old YouTube account, I'm pretty sure it's one that did the rounds back then. It's all of a sudden it's somebody's waited for a wee bit and then posted it, but made it out that it was this year. But it looks very familiar. The one in the UK, if you come across it, for the blood moon this year, well, the full moon this year. Yeah. It's quite nuts how something doesn't like me talking about this sort of thing. It's pretty nuts. Yeah, I mentioned about the compilation videos. The one in America I'm going to get into, because that one is actually a long video. It's taken from a free, sorry about coming up there randomly, it comes from a 3 hour, a 3 hour video, believe it or not. But in the compilation, because there's a couple of compilation channels that cover it. I can't give out the channels because I forgot to write it, because I did the notes up here, so, and I didn't have the note I'm up here with no phone signal whatsoever. I can't go quickly check on YouTube to give the channels and stuff, but I will do a follow up where I'll give the channels and stuff, because I just came out here earlier today. Like, I've been out here since, like, I think it's like 10 o'clock this morning. I've been out here. I've been up here. I've been out over here since 10 o'clock this morning. Just came up and just started writing notes for tonight. I thought it's the first time I've ever been here for that length of time, and did notes as well. Wrote up notes. There is the potential of something being around. I did hear something there. But hey, I'm not bothered. Yeah, that's the Russian one. I've got to go back to here. So the reason I do the werewolf, the big urban legend, the last time I did the urban legend on the werewolf, the reason I do it is it's actually one of my biggest curiosity ones. Because there's a lot of, when it comes to a few of the urban legends, and especially when it comes to video footage of them, I'm a great believer in trust your judgment. If you're watching it and you get the goosebumps like a motherfucker, or the hairs tingling and stuff, it's usually an indication that there's something real about it. If you're watching something and you're like getting no if you're getting no reaction from it, which is pretty nuts. So the werewolf is one of my curious ones, because there's a few videos I've watched over the years, and the one in America, I'm going to cover it in I have got notes on it. It's just getting to the notes on it. Yeah, here we go. I have seen footage of a recent sighting of the werewolf, and it's one of the reasons why I did the urban legend at the beginning. Like, it's one of the reasons why, because there is actually a few videos out there that can leave the question mark of, well, because the AI generated video ones, this is why I don't like when things are like when the fire's just left and it goes to a Kindle, because it just randomly, I get to a bit where I'm wanting to talk about, like, try to discern, especially when it comes to the werewolf, what is real and what isn't. I'm a great believer in trust your instincts with that one. If you're watching something and you get the goosebumps like a motherfucker, then there's usually an indication that, well, whatever's in that video is real. If you're watching a video and you get absolutely nothing, then nothing it is. Because the same could be said about some of the videos I've done as well. This log is not set up for. I'll try to get it so I can read the notes and be on camera at the same time. It's all good. And I'm getting the feeling that something's walking over my grave as well, which is not helping. I'm turning into the direction of where I'm got the feeling that there's something there. But anyway, it is what it is, especially away out here in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. Especially away out here over in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. Yeah, it's one of my biggest curiosities. Yeah, I've mentioned it. The urban legend of the werewolf can also coincide with the urban legend of the Skulfahedin, or the Skulfadin. I call them the Skulfahedin, because they're both kind of, well, if you don't know what the Skulfahedin is, it's like a shapeshifter, and it's pretty much what the werewolf is. It's borderline a shapeshifter. All of a sudden spring back into life again. Or not. Right, there we go. Anyway, there is life in the fire. Like, the fire is still there. The coals are still red hot. This one is a bit long because there is things happening, and I like to explain what's happening around me and stuff. So it's like the origin of the werewolf is like, it's almost like something has been touched, because the Egyptians talk about them. The Egyptians mention the werewolf as well, and they call it those who have been touched. But the burning of the library of Alexandria hasn't really helped humanity, to be fair, because there was the Romans. They weren't very nice people, put it that way. All right, you can say what you want about them, but I can assure you, they weren't nice people, because they burnt the library of Alexandria, and then what they did in not that long ago in Britain was quite ruthless as well. But anyway, because I wanted the urban. I've started. It's almost at the time where I will be doing the urban legend of Artir and Merlin. I'm going to start pronouncing them for who they really are, Artir, and then get where I'm going with the tear being at the bit, Artir. Because the Viking, because the pagans call him Azir Tyr. And then when Merlin found them. But I'm not getting into it, because I could go off on one with I could start talking about it right now, because I've just finished all the notes for that one. I started the notes for the urban legend of Arthur and Merlin back in October last year, and that's me just finished the notes for it. That urban legend will be recorded over 4 nights, and it'll be one urban legend, but there'll probably be about 12 episodes for it. It'll be the biggest undertaking I've done for recording. Because there is short videos out there. There's like 10, 20 minutes and half an hour videos on the legend of Arthur. But I'm going into everything. Absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. Back on topic. The second sighting comes from America. Through the countless subscriptions I had and have, there was somebody that uploaded a video, and I've seen the full length video. So it's over 3 hours long, and it was on the last full moon, which turned into a blood moon. Exactly the same night I was out recording. So the one that was in America, because there is actually, I will give a description, so if you go looking for the video for it, it's the one you'll come across with black fur, and it's got 2 different coloured eyes. One is yellow and one is green. And all 3 are the same height. They're 8 foot 5 inches, quite big for a werewolf actually. And they're both over, and all 3 of them are over 8 foot. Because there's been one supposedly reported in the United Kingdom. Still need to do a wee bit more digging on that one. The one in America, that's actually got proper media coverage on that, and I've also been hinted to have a look at it as well. I've seen the full video. I've watched the full video, and I also watched the full video from Russia as well, because there's on the same night over in Russia there was also a sighting as well of a werewolf. And I've already given where it was in America. It was on the Appalachia. So the one in America starts with coyotes and a pack of coyotes and wolves. Then you hear this howl, and it doesn't come from a wolf, and it definitely doesn't come from a coyote. Because as the video goes further in, and as the person's still walking on the trail, and then all of a sudden the pack of coyotes that you hear howling, well, the pack of coyotes are pretty much running past the person in the direction of where the howl came from. And then that's when you see it. You see it. You see it. There's just no getting away from it. You see it. You see it standing. You see it standing. The video is fucking mental. And the person shoots it. And it lets out the most blood-curdling howl and growl. It's definitely not a bear. It's definitely not a bear. But anyway, we will. I highlight if I've tickled your curiosity with that one with the Appalachia, like it's that's where to begin. Like this year's encounters in Appalachia. It's hidden in a compilation video. That's all I can really say, and it's the same with the one in Russia as well. It's hidden in a compilation video. But I'm already a subscriber. I've already been a subscriber to that channel for a while. Before, because the channel I've got now it's been since 2017. I have another channel that was even older, that goes back to way back. But life changes things, so it's all good. Yeah, there's actual clips at the moment that are doing the rounds on the internet of it's like a mixture of the one in Russia and the one in Appalachia. The one in the UK is it did its rounds a wee bit, but I think people are big. Like there's some people like myself that go, like that looks oddly familiar from a video that did the rounds a few years back, whereas the one in America and the one in Russia are completely different. Completely different. Because the one in America comes from nearly a 4-hour video, to be fair. Like the actual full length thing is actually really interesting, because not all of it is the compilation will have it make out that the whole 3.5-hour video. It's not. It's actually towards it's like the last 2.5 hours is where that gets really interesting, and it's constant for 2.5 hours, because the person's trying to. I'm not quite sure if he's on his own, if the person is if the person's on their own or not, and then it's like you hear the gunshot, and then the person starts walking back down the trail, and then it's not it's quite hard to discern if it's actually one werewolf or if it was actually more than one. And that's the mental thing about the Appalachia one. It's what sets the Appalachia one a wee bit differently to the one in Russia, because the one in Russia is just one, but the one in Appalachia is it could be 2 or 3. I really need to rewatch it again, because I've only watched it once, but I need to Just seen a flicker of light. And that's all. These are recent, by the way. These ones, like the one in Russia and the one in Appalachia. Because the blood moon was only like a week. It was only like a couple of weeks ago. I am still here. Just trying to find my torchlight. I've just seen a light. This actually allows me to sit. It's been an interesting night. After this episode, there will be a walk around as well. I'm going to change to this bit here. Sit over here and finish the episode. Where significant I'm over, I'm sitting at this bit. I want to actually finish this episode. I've got the better flashlight on charge as well. It's a bit quiet at the moment. Every time I think, oh, there's nothing there. There's like a light. There was like a light flickering by down at the bottom. It's not the first time. But anyway, like I say, it is what it is. I've seen phantom lights in here quite a lot. Just makes for going back down interesting. So I thought I would, this is a bit long. I had a funny feeling this one will be a bit long. But we're going to start getting into the nitty gritty with this one. We're going to get into the nitty gritty. The one in Russia is that's a long video as well, because like I've said, the one in Russia is it's sort of like it's all about camping. It's like camping out in the Siberian forest and other forests and woodlands around in certain parts of Russia. I'm going to come off and do seeing a light again. Fucking not. I'm going to end this one here. I'm going to come back on and point the camera the other way.